Welcome back to episode 28 of the 31305 podcast. As always, I'm Taylor, joined by my co-host Alex. Hear us on Spotify, on YouTube. Follow us on Instagram, 31305 podcast. But, ladies and gentlemen, we had, I don't know, the greatest home run derby of all time last night. No, just kidding. Wasn't that great. But
You wish.
I do wish. I have a couple of ideas to make it better. But home run derby was last night. Um, I don't know. You just want to get right into it. We didn't have a ton of stuff to talk about this week, so
Yeah, I mean, it's weird because the first weird part was that it was really bright outside because it's in Seattle,
yeah,
and like it's 4 hour, 3 hour time difference from the East Coast. So like seeing them end the Derby and it's still being bright out, like, you used to like the baseball flying in the darkness, like a cool shot. It was a little weird for that, but another weird part I think was I didn't realize how quick they throw the pitches. And you couldn't appreciate every home run because as soon as the hitter hits it, the ball's in the air, they show the ball landing at the seats. The next ball is already almost landing in the seats, and you can't even see the entire path. So I didn't like how it was presented, if that makes sense.
yeah,
Like I
no,
think the angle of the camera should have been different. Like ESPN 2's was good, it just had way too many numbers and figures because of Statcast.
no, definitely was not a great viewing experience. I got to the point where they were showing the exit velo and launch angle on the screen. I was like, that's just what I'm gonna base it. Like, I'll know if it's a home run
Yeah.
based on the exit velo and the launch angle at this point. Like, I'll just
hmm
base it off of that because, like you said, yeah, by the time it landed, the next one was already like on the way down. I
hmm
get it. They want the kids to see a bunch of home runs. It's fun when someone hits 41 like Julio did in a round, which we'll go through, everything that happened. But just overall was a weird, like you said, it was daytime in Seattle and a weird experience. I think they need to bring back the 10 outs instead of having it timed with 3 minutes, which is weird because they have 3 minute rounds, but then everyone also gets a 30-second bonus anyway. So why not just make it 3 minutes and 30 seconds? Why I don't get that.
I think it's just
The
to give him a break.
to
I
give him a
think that's
break,
why.
I guess. But you get a
Yeah.
timeout, which is fine. Which we saw Mookie Betts didn't even use his timeout. Um, I do like the 440. If you hit two 440 bombs, you get an extra 30 seconds. But all in all, I think I liked the 10 home runs better. It like last night it was like 3 hours. It didn't end till almost 8 o'clock Pacific time. That's way too long for a home run derby. These need to be like hour and a half, 2 hours most. 3 hours is just,
hmm
especially for it being on the West Coast, like the East Coast, it was over at like what 11 o'clock last night, 11:30.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's just too long. They definitely need to make some changes to it.
Yeah, I agree. That or just have six hitters and just have it so there's two less hitters and then the first two seeds have a bye in the first round, because
Yeah,
then you could allow more time for each participant. But it just each round almost like they're just trying to hit as many home runs as possible. So I'm sure in person it's great, but like viewing it at home was like you said, you couldn't even tell a hit was a home run. I thought half of I thought half of Randy Rosarena's home runs in the last round were home runs, but they were out, they were line drives
yeah,
because you just couldn't tell because they couldn't
yeah.
show the whole path of the ball. Um, but in terms of the actual hitters and how they did yesterday, I mean, Vladdy Jr. did well enough to win. He actually had a more impressive home run derby in 2019 when he lost to Pete Alonso. But I mean, he outlasted Randy Rosarena, he was pretty consistent. I'm not gonna lie. He wasn't like an overwhelming favorite, but he was the most, like I said, consistent in each round. Like he didn't like have a great round and then a bad round. He was kind of like in the middle of like being decent. But Pete Alonso and Mookie Betts, like you just said, on using the home timeout, what a shit show from them too. What
That was awful.
disappointing performances. I mean, Pete Alonso and Roberts' pitcher or Adonis Garcia's pitcher should be making the A's bullpen because they were throwing dots on the corner. It was crazy how good they were throwing. But
Alonso's pitcher was throwing sliders in the dirt half the time, just down and away, down and away. Couldn't hit anything. Like, I don't even feel. I feel bad for Pete. Like, I know he's nobody really likes him. He just takes this shit way too serious, and like it's
mhm.
kind of a meme that everyone hates him now because of it. But like, he couldn't even do anything last night. He was getting slider away half the time. Like, definitely feel bad for him. He wasn't gonna beat Julio's 41, which I mean, I don't think anybody last night would have beat 40. Julio's 41 in a round because, and obviously nobody did. But that place was electric when he came in.
Yeah, I mean, him and Luis Robert had amazing first rounds. They obviously couldn't make it to the finals, unfortunately, but I think because they did so good in the first round, they got drained and tired, and they couldn't keep it up. Like you saw Randy in the last round was gassed. You saw Vlad Guerrero even in the last round. He won, but he was still super tired because he had to go back to back. And shout out Adley Rushman. I mean, he lost in the first round. For him to hit from both sides of the plate the entire 2 minutes from the left side, and then he didn't miss a pitch hitting from the right hand side in the bonus round. Every single hit was a home run. 8 pitches, 8 home runs from the right hand side was crazy. Um, so they had some good performances, but again, I think just the speed of how quickly they had to hit the home runs really drained them. Whereas before, you get 10 outs, you can pause, have a drink of Gatorade, Powerade, whatever you want. Um, but congrats to Vladimir Guerrero Jr. joining his dad and winning the home run derby.
Was that the first father son duo to ever do it? Because I know Ken Griffey and Ken Griffey Jr. didn't, and
No,
then
it's the first one. Yeah,
yeah,
because Prince Sr. Didn't
yeah,
win it.
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. And then Dante Bichette and Bo Bichette haven't.
Both hasn't made the competition.
Yeah. But yeah, overall, I'd probably give it like what, a 6 out of 10. It was still definitely entertaining, especially the Julio round was great. Luis Roberts round was great. Mookie Betts, oh my god, never be invited to a home run derby again. He got hot, I wouldn't say hot mic'd, but JD Martinez was mic'd up. And during his little 30-second break in between, JD said he's got to keep pulling the ball left, and Mookie just straight up said, "I don't know how to do that." So kind of just a funny moment of he had like 11 home runs and then just didn't do anything. It was just like, I don't know what I'm doing. Um,
Yeah.
don't invite him back, please. It was pretty bad. I don't know what the lowest round total is in the home run derby ever, but that had to be pretty close to it. I don't
Because
know
he's
if
not a
that's
pure power hitter,
no,
Like
he's
he makes good
not.
contact and he hits home runs, but he's not like a power hitter, Like you want a Jorge Soler, you want obviously Otani as well there, You want people that are just mainly known for hitting bombs, whereas Mookie Betts is like he hits home runs, but he's more contact than anything else. Like they should have had JD Martinez. They should have had him participate. Um, but yeah, I'd give it like a 6 out of 10. I think if we were in Seattle in the stadium, it'd probably be like an 11 out of 10. It would have been so cool, all the home runs, but I think just watching it was a
Wait,
disappointment.
the 19. I don't know if this is real. I just googled it, but the 1990 home run derby at Wrigley Field had the lowest amount of home run total hit with a total of 5 home runs.
I think it's because that's when they did the outs. So even like 9 home runs was considered impressive back then
Yeah, I know that,
with the
but
outs.
5 total.
Yeah,
That
because
is.
it's probably five from one person.
It was Ryan Sandberg had three, Matt Williams and Mark McGuire each had one.
That's
Damn, that
crazy.
is crazy.
So it could be
Um,
worse, I guess. I guess we know it could be
I guess
worse.
there's quite a lot of people with zero, but that's before we had the timed rounds. It was all the out rounds. Trying to look to see if
Gotcha.
anyone's. Yeah, I can't
And
find
even then,
anything.
they changed the format because before they had to wait until the ball landed to throw the
Yeah,
pitch. And then they changed it for this season to do it the other way. So, or I guess
yeah.
for last season they did it.
Oh,
But yeah,
interesting.
overall, I think it was better at the stadium watching it and being a part of it than on TV.
Oh, I mean, for sure. I think the home run derby is probably the most fun, like, all-star event to go to. So definitely a fun place to be. Especially if you're sitting in the outfield, 3 hours of just getting to catch fly balls. And shout out to that one. Shout out to the kid that took one. He took a 115-mile-an-hour line out from Vladdy Jr. off his face. Took it like a champ. He definitely is going to have some vision problems. They had a picture of it afterwards. Just completely black eye was closed. So what's your opinion on having these kids shagging fly balls? Because these things
Get
are
the
not
kids out
like,
of there.
yeah,
Get
these
the
are
kids
not
out of
like,
there.
they're not like 18, 19-year-old like baseball players doing it. It's
They're
like
12.
10-year-old boys and girls
Yeah.
club kids that are shagging piss missiles off of like Major League Baseball players. So I get the
Maybe have
sentiment; it's
them
cool, but
Have them do it like after the round. Just go and grab the baseballs that are left in the
yeah,
turf and or field and pick them up and put them out of the way. But like you said, the guy got domed just straight up on live TV, and then they showed the next home run was hit in that direction, and the
he
kid's
was just
just on
laying
the
in the ground.
ground. It's
Yeah.
just poor guy. I hope
It's
he's
not.
okay.
It's not funny. Well, I mean it is, but it's not at the
I hope
same
he's
time.
okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they said he was fine. He was smiling in the picture, so Obviously, a
Yeah.
story to tell for the rest of his life, but
He's gonna have some brain
yeah,
damage.
like I think it might be time to stop having the kids shagging the fly balls because it's not like normal BP where you're just like hitting balls. Like these guys are trying to hit it as hard as they
Yeah.
maybe not as hard as they can, but they're trying to hit home runs.
Yeah.
You should probably not have 10-year-olds on the field shagging those fly balls.
No, for sure. For sure. We do have, of course, the All Star game tonight, which we'll get into in a little bit. We'll get into the lineups and who we think is going to win in a second. But we did have some very good action, exciting action happening over the weekend. On Saturday, two very notable things,
Yes,
including the
sir.
Detroit Tigers. Somehow, in this news, in this podcast, and not for a negative reason, shout out to the Tigers. They got a combined no hitter on Sunday against the Toronto Blue Jays. Matt Manning threw 6 and 2/3. Jason Foley threw an inning and a third, and Alex Lang closed out the ninth. Um, I want to note the perfect game was ruined by the fourth pitch because Matt Manning hit Bo Bichette in the first at
Yeah,
bat, and then he walked the
I
next batter.
yeah, but those are the only walks of the game. Other than that, it would have been a perfect game.
Yeah, just ruined by the first thing,
They weren't
first
the
batter.
first damn
But
inning.
I mean, it's the first combined no hitter in team history, ninth overall, so second in this year in the big leagues. What was it? 2 weeks after German's perfect game, or
Yeah,
a week after? So shout out to the Tigers. I mean, they're only 5.5 out. They still lost the series, of course, to the Blue Jays. They lost 2 out of 3, but they're only 5.5 out of a playoff spot. Again, kind of underwhelming, but they do have this moment, of course, in MLB and team history. So shout out to the Tigers.
yes, sir. I didn't even like. I wasn't even watching the game. I was at the D-backs game, so I saw it on my phone. I got like the I didn't even get an ESPN alert this time.
No.
No, I just went into like my MLB app to check the score, and it said like no hitter on it. I was like, oh shit, here we go. And I texted you because last time I texted you, I was like, Alex, look what's going on. Check your ESPN app. Like there's something happening. And then
Hmm.
literally right after that, they blew it. So
The next hit.
this time I just texted you Alex, and you knew exactly what was going on.
I was like, again, it was like 5 days ago. I think that
But
was in their
yeah,
last series they played. It was the same
yeah,
situation in the seventh inning. Some guy got a double start off the inning.
yeah. So didn't even watch it till the bottom of the ninth, but happy for the Tigers. Another no hitter, the first one since Spencer Turnbull in 2020. Sounds
That
right.
sounds all right. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, obviously combined no hitter. I don't know what you think of it. I think it feels a little. I get it. It's impressive. It feels a little bit like it doesn't feel as great as one person pitching it all. Like yeah, you had three guys come in and have absolute elite stuff to where they didn't give up a hit, but at the same time, it's not one person throwing 130 pitches throwing a no hitter. So there was
It's
a little bit of
still
discourse on Twitter.
it's still better than I think there was one combined hitter, no hitter in the last 5 years where it was like 6 pitchers combined.
Yeah, was it the
That one I
Astros
felt
that
like
did
was
that?
less impressive. Yeah. Because there was like the most one pitcher pitch was like 3 innings. So
Yeah,
I think at least Matt Manning deserves definitely credit. And then the bullpen just for getting through it, like I think it's fair. If it's more than four, if it's like four more pitchers, then you're like, okay, it's kind of just like a bullpen game. The starter wasn't really that impressive, but I mean,
yeah,
Matt Manning still threw less than 100 pitches, and they still threw combined like 122, which is not that much,
yeah.
for
And
a full game.
unfortunately, Matt Manning's coming back from an injury, so I think this is only his second start. It's either his first or second start since coming back.
Yeah.
So they weren't going to let him throw 130 pitches. So 91 was his cap. Obviously, he probably could have gone another inning or two if he was healthy and not coming back from an injury. We wouldn't have this big of a discussion. But um,
Yeah.
still happy the Tigers threw a no hitter. Uh, still like 6 games back in the division, but I mean, at least there's something happy to cheer about.
Yeah, in Detroit. Yeah. Also on Saturday, we had another historic moment. We had Ellie De La Cruz, of course, the rookie. He's been up since about early June with the Cincinnati Reds, and in the eighth inning, he stole second, third, and home base on 2 pitches. He stole third base because their third baseman didn't even cover the bag. And then as Alex Figueroa was getting the ball back from the catcher, he walked really slowly back to the mound. And now De La Cruz just said, screw it, I'm going to take home. And he stole home base. And it's the first time they've had somebody steal second, third, and home since 1919, the Reds. John Birdie of the Marlins actually in 2020 was the last person to steal second, third, and home all in the same inning. So shout out John Birdie and the Marlins. But what do you make of this electricity that Ali De La Cruz has brought to baseball into the Reds.
Yeah, this kid is absolutely electric. I'm hoping he sticks around and isn't just like a. Well, I say that now. Next year, I don't want him to win Rookie of the Year this year. That's Corbin's award. But next year, I hope he has a great year. He's obviously electric. He's good for the city of Cincinnati, the team. I don't know what their record is off the top of my head. I'd have to say like what 21-8 since he got called up. It's
23-7.
20. I was close.
It was.
Oh, you know what? I'm gonna need you to take over. Later in this podcast, I just remembered who he played for, and I have not made the list for that yet. So
Okay.
that just popped into my mind. But um, I'm happy for him. It was great. He was a drop third strike away from the quote unquote stolen base cycle, which would have been absolutely electric.
Right.
um, if that happens, like just give him the award because that's crazy. But
Hmm.
um, yeah, he's insanely good. Like I feel like we've everyone's talked about Ellie enough. Everyone knows this kid's gonna be electric. He's great. He's got Cincinnati in the number one in the NL Central. Now, if that holds, I don't know because their pitching is pretty shit. But they have a lot of young guys that this team. I don't think any of us thought they would be this good. Uh, they are quite, in fact, a good baseball team. Maybe not a NL Central Division winner this year, but most certainly in the wild card race down the stretch.
Yeah, I mean, they still lost against the Brewers 2 out of 3, but they're still half a game ahead of the Brewers in the divisional race, which, I mean, if you asked them in the beginning of the season, they would take it, being like
Yeah,
they're still winning the division at the All Star break. I mean, this team was projected to finish last or fourth behind the Cubs, the Pirates, even definitely behind the Cardinals, and they've come out and that young talent's really started to develop for them and stay consistent. I mean, they have like some old people like Joey Votto on there, but yeah, I mean, they've been really good. For the Brewers, I mean, they won 2 out of 3 in this series, so they're feeling good. They've got a little bit of a hot streak going to the All-Star break. But it was really funny because Elvis Peguero got booed off the field after giving up the stolen bases. By his home crowd, he allowed 2 runs, an RBI single from Elly De La Cruz, and then obviously the stolen home. But it was just crazy. He got booed off by that. Like, even if the Marlins reliever allowed to steal home, I don't think he'd get booed. I mean, even if it was definitely his fault. But
yeah,
yes,
yeah. The Brewers have been in a weird spot this year, but yeah, Elliot De La Cruz, electric player.
no, for sure. Speaking about Corbin Carroll
Yes,
and your hometown
sir.
D-backs, the D-backs kind of got back on track this weekend. I mean, they got smoked by New York at home. Let's not even put it lightly. I mean, the Mets took
Yeah,
to them this week.
that was ugly. We don't talk about that.
Yeah, they did take 2 out of 3 from the Pirates. They won Friday and Saturday against Pittsburgh. They got a walk-off on Saturday. The Pirates scored one in the top of the inning, take a one-run lead going into the bottom of the 10th. And then your boy, MVP, maybe out of reach at this point, but rookie of the year for sure, Corbin Carroll, uh, scores 2 runs in the 10th and has the walk-off hit. He left Friday's game due to a right shoulder soreness, which is actually what hurt him 2 years ago, and has been dealing with that injury still. But great moment because you sent it to me, the D-backs social media page said what 24-hour difference makes, and it was him leaving the field holding his shoulder like this and then being mobbed by his teammates at home. So great job for Corbin Carroll. He is starting in the All Star game today, and it's his hometown of Seattle. I didn't know if you knew that he's actually from
No, yeah, yeah,
Seattle.
yeah. I did know
I,
that.
I didn't know that at all. But
Yeah,
shout out
it's
to
really
Corbin
cool.
Carroll and the D-backs. I'm sure you got more you want to add.
Which is why I was kind of hoping that he would end up in the home run derby as like one of the last two participants, but unfortunately it didn't happen. Probably wouldn't be that the most exciting. He has 18 home runs, but like they're not bombs. They're just like barely getting over. Um, oh my god, what was I gonna say? Yeah, at the game was electric. We were like, damn, should we leave early? This game kind of sucks. And then I think someone in our Twitter group sent the video of Ellie. I was like, damn, this guy's gonna win a Rookie of the Year, isn't he? And literally
Yeah.
5 minutes later, after that, Corbin Carroll hits a walk off triple. So, um, fun times in the desert. Just wanted to shout out the young kids that seem to be carrying the league right now. Corbin Carroll, Ellie De La Cruz. Why am I blanking on the other guy's name that I can't think of right now? Jace Young. Uh,
Hmm.
the league is in great hands. Both Corbin and Young are going to be starting in the All Star game today. Two rookies. I don't know the last time that's happened. I feel like it's been a while, but um, yeah, I can't think of it off the top of my head. But the young guys are definitely here. Speaking of young guys, I don't know if you want to talk about the MLB draft at all, but that happened on Sunday. With some interesting
Did.
selections.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of chalk in the first 3, right, of the actual picks. You
Was
had
it though?
I mean, top two at least. How about that? You had the Pirates take Paul Skeens out of LSU. Everyone kind of figured he'd be the number one pick. You had the Nationals take Dylan Cruz, again out of LSU, outfielder. First pair of teammates to go 1-2 ever in history. And then the Detroit Tigers took Max Clark. He was the fifth overall ranked prospect out of high school and outfielder. I know you would have rather they taken Wyatt Langford, who went right after to the Rangers. And the first big benefit of the draft lottery was the Twins. They jumped up to five from 18, I believe it was. And they picked Walker Jenkins, another high school outfielder. But yeah, what do you make of the first five picks? Obviously, your Tigers had the fifth overall pick. And were there any big surprises that jumped out to you, at least in the first round?
Tigers have the third pick. Dylan Cruz not going number one was a little interesting to me.
Hmm.
Um, Obviously, the rumor came out that he wanted more than slot value, which the Pirates weren't willing to give up. So they ended up taking his teammate Paul Skeens, who could probably pitch in a reliever role right now in the MLB. I wouldn't be shocked if he's only in the minors like a year. I think that's a great pick. I think Dylan Cruz obviously is still a great pick for Washington at two. I thought I was going to sneeze, but I didn't have to. Still a great pick. He's going to be a middle of the order bat, hopefully for them for the next, I don't know, 12 years. And then three was the first, I guess, surprise. Wyatt Langford was widely rumored to be, in the top three, like trio of these are the elite players, tier one. The Tigers pass on him for outfield high school prospect. Uh, why can I why can I not think of his name? Oh my God, Max Clark. Holy shit,
Hmm.
that was. It's been a weird day. Um, 18 years old. They were hyping up his social media. They were like, "Yeah, this guy's got more followers than so and so player." I was like, "Who gives a shit? Why
Who
does that matter at
cares?
all? I don't care."
Yeah,
It was a
exactly.
bit of a surprise. I thought Wyatt Langford obviously is the more ready now player, but I guess if you're the Tigers, you're not really competing right now, so you can sit this kid down in the minors for 4 to 5 years, and we'll see what happens in 2028. I I don't know. I don't like the wave of high school bats, especially with like we had Riley Green, who's finally in the league now after like 4 years. It just takes so long for them to develop someone you're constantly taking high school bats and arms. Like we took Jackson Jobe 2 years ago. He still isn't like single A. Um, it's a long process, and I'm kind of tired of it. But if he ends up being a better player than Wyatt Langford, then I'm fine with it. But like I want results now. I
Yeah,
want to
of
win
course.
now. Yeah.
The Tigers are in the process of getting out of a rebuild into another one, it seems like,
Yeah.
because they just haven't really hit on all their pieces that they tried to do when they rebuilt fully. Um, for me, a big surprise was no surprise. It was the Angels picking a really not ranked high prospect at 11. They picked the 26th overall prospect, Nolan Schonel from FAU. He's a first baseman. He's definitely 21, but he still got a couple years of playing. You'd think they would have got with Kyle Teal, seventh overall ranked prospect catcher. He fell all the way to 14 with Boston. That to me was a big surprise. And the biggest surprise was honestly the Blue Jays getting Arjun Nimala at 20. He's the 11th ranked prospect, number two shortstop. I think he's the first Indian player to be drafted in the
In
first
the
round and went
first
like
round,
third
yeah.
overall. So shout out to him and shout out to the Marlins for picking Noble Meyer. I mean, what we do is we develop pitchers, we develop them very well, and we got a guy who has been compared to Randy Johnson, who's been compared to Mick Abel, or Abel, sorry, from the Phillies organization. I mean, he's 6'5" already, and he's only 18. So yeah, overall, I wasn't too surprised with all the draft picks. Just like you said, Max Clark over Wyatt Langford's gonna be discussed. And you've got Nolan Schonel going 11 when he was predicted to go 26 for the Angels.
Yeah. But it's the MLB draft, so we all know everything's just a shit potluck of throw a dart and hope it sticks, and then in 5 years you hope they perform. It is definitely unlike any other draft we have, so you probably won't hear any of the names for the next. I mean, other than like Paul Skeens maybe next year, but you're not going to hear any of these names for quite a long time. They'll develop in the minors, and then 2027 comes around, and you're wondering what happened to all those 2023 draft picks. They should be arriving.
Yeah. I mean, even Trout was like the 25th pick, like he wasn't ranked
Yeah,
super highly, and he was the best in the game for 10 years. Jose Fernandez,
Yeah.
RIP, like he was the 15th pick in the draft. So like even where you're drafted, in basketball it matters a little bit less, but in baseball it surely does not matter where you're drafted because it has no
Yeah.
correlation to how good you're going to be. We do have the future stars of today playing tonight. We have the All Star game going on in Seattle, like we've alluded to. The lineups are out National League versus American League. I have the lineups up for you to look, Taylor. Who do you think wins tonight, and what do you think the final score is?
Uh, the AL's won what 9 in a row and 21 of the last 24. The AL takes
Hmm.
this extremely seriously. I'm gonna take the NL. You got Zach Gallen on the bump tonight. He's probably only gonna pitch like 2 innings, but I mean, Gallen versus Cole. I mean, you've got no Trout, no Judge, no Alvarez in the AL. The AL's lineup like low key kind of underwhelming. It's just Texas Junior. Like
Yeah.
Simeon leading off. You've got Corey Seager, Adolis Garcia, Josh Young, Jonah Heim. I just think the NL with Acuna, Freeman, Betts, Arenado, Corbin, Sean Murphy, I think is way stronger than. I mean, the best on the AL's probably. I mean, not even probably, like easily Shohei. But other
Hmm.
than that, it's just a bunch of guys that outside of like actual baseball fans, you're like, who the fuck is that guy? Um,
Yeah.
give me the NL tonight, 11-4. They're gonna blow them out.
11-4. They're going to score
Give it to.
11 runs.
I think they're gonna score 11 runs, 11-4 tonight. I'm gonna see what the odds are first, too. Not even first. That's my guess, but let's see what the
Hmm.
odds are.
I think the NL's going to win too. I think like their worst piece starting is Orlando Arcia, and I think he's way better than Josh Young or Jonah Heim. I'm going to take the NL, but I'm going to make it a little bit more conservative. I'm going to do 6-3.
Okay, yeah. Right now, it's basically a pick 'em. The NL's minus 115, the AL's minus 105. The over under is only 7.5, so I think it's gonna slam that. Who do you think the All Star Game MVP will be, though?
Oh, it's going to be Jorge Soler. I mean, I think he's going to come off the bench and hit a 3-run home run in like the seventh inning, eighth inning, and that's going to be what turns the tide because
Okay.
he's going to strike out on 3 pitches or he's hitting a cock rocket to like middle center field.
That's
So
fair.
it's
That's
one or
fair.
the other. So I'm taking
Uh,
realistically, I would take Shohei, but I'm taking Jorge Soler.
I'm gonna do it. I'm taking the hometown boy. I'm taking Corbin Carroll to win All Star MVP in his hometown. He bats eighth, but they usually get what starters usually get 2 at bats, so I'm calling a home run and a double from Corbin Carroll uh, to win All Star MVP tonight. Only plus 2,000. He's got the eighth best odds, so it's
It's
there.
not bad. That's not bad.
This is not gambling advice, and we do not promote gambling. Please gamble responsibly.
We've talked about it, I think, every single episode. I think we've
Probably.
talked about gambling.
All right, let's see. Oh, I can't even like look at what the odds for the final score being 11-4 is. Damn.
What do you mean?
I'm trying to see what the odds of like if I predict the score of 11-1, what the odds
Oh,
would
what
be
you would
for it.
get.
But yeah, they don't even have that on there. Oh well.
Gotcha. Right. I think that's it for baseball. We do have some basketball. I actually have a decent amount of basketball news, even though no major signings or trades have happened yet in basketball. We had Mick Cronin, the Blazers GM, stated yesterday that he's in no rush to trade Damian Lillard in this ongoing saga, 11 days after his trade request. And if it takes months, it takes months, is what he said. Shams Charania and Chris Haynes have reported that no teams outside of the Heat have had discussions with the Blazers, though no official trade offer has been sent from the Heat, just discussions. What do you make of the ongoing dilemma in Oregon, and does this change your feeling that he's going to get traded to the Heat or traded at all?
What have I been saying this entire time? This
That
shit is
is
gonna
just
take
going to
so
happen.
long. This just gonna
Yeah.
it's gonna happen one day, and we'll be like, wow, he finally did it. Until that happens, it doesn't matter what we say.
Hmm.
He wants to go to Miami. We know that nobody else is gonna give up assets at this point. He's not gonna play anywhere but Miami, is what he's saying. The only option is that he stays in Portland. He plays it out until the trade deadline, or until they can find a trade, or he goes to Miami. There's there should be no more speculation of what's gonna happen. They just need to fucking do it. It's they've drawn this out. It like I said, this is the Real Housewives of Portland over here. It's we're gonna hold on to you until we feel like we can let you go for whatever we want, and it's not gonna happen. The Heat know that they have a ton of leverage at this point. It's either Portland holds on to him and lets him walk for free, or they take whatever the Heat can get or whatever the Heat give them, because nobody else is going to be making offers. They just need to get this shit figured out, because it's turned in from like a wow, Dame's finally going to get traded, good for him, to like we know he's getting traded. Let's move on, just get it done with. Let's go.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, like everyone kind of assumes he's just going to the Heat, but Mick Cronin's just trying to play hardball. But like they said the same thing about Durant, when Durant was in Brooklyn. They said the same thing about Harden when Harden was in Houston. Like star players will get traded to the teams they want to. They'll just hold out to try to get the best value they can. But apparently the Heat haven't even sent like their best offer or discussed their best offer with Portland. So I think McCronen's just pissed that like can't get more value, but no team has sent them a trade request. Just shows that hey, you have no leverage. Like it's either you take the Heat's offer or you just choose to have an unhappy Damian Lillard, who's been reported to even miss out on training camp, and he's not afraid to sit out until he gets traded. So, like you said, I think he's just gonna get moved. They're just being
Yeah,
like Real Housewives of Portland.
they just need to figure it the fuck out, because this shit is getting insane.
Yeah. We had one big signing happen. Shout out to your Detroit Pistons.
Yes, sir.
Uh,
Yes,
he
sir.
Isaiah Stewart, 22-year-old center, power forward, or no, probably center.
Center.
You describe it as. He
He
gets
can
the
play the
first.
four, I guess, but
Yeah, he gets the first non-max extension from the 2020 draft. He gets a solid 4 year, $64 million deal. It's the first Pistons rookie extension since 2011, but the first one of their own players since 2008. So shout out Jason Maxiell for getting the last extension from the Pistons in '08. Because when they re-signed Drummond in 2011, he was a restricted free agent, not a rookie extension.
yeah.
So is it a good move by Detroit with all their big men? I think it's great value for a 22-year-old that's still only going to get better with time. But do you think it's a good move by your Pistons?
This is just something has to be traded then, because they still have Jalen Duren, they have James Wiseman, they have Marvin Bagley, and they have Isaiah Stewart. At some point, one of them is going to have to be traded. I think I think it was a little early to sign Isaiah Stewart, since we don't know what the rotation is going to look like this year. Glad he got his bag though. Great for him. As long as they don't re-sign Killian Hayes, I think they're good. But I'm assuming a trade is in the works, because they still have four bigs, at least four. Um, so I don't know what they're gonna do. It's a good signing, I guess. He doesn't shoot threes very often. I guess he's working on it, but I don't know. It's kind of a non-mover. I'm cool with keeping him. I'm cool with losing him. I'm not gonna say anything until something happens, because a trade is gonna have to happen at this point.
Honestly, they should just keep him to be like the Dennis Rodman role and just like
Just beat the
kill
shit out of
anybody on
people.
the other team. Yeah,
That's
like when he went
exactly
after
what I'm
LeBron
thinking.
or like Ron Artest. Like
Hey, that's a great idea.
he just not even play him, just have him off the bench, just have him be like Udonis Haslam or something. But yeah, like I said, I like to move for Isaiah Stewart. I mean, 60 million is not that bad of a deal for your
No,
starting
it's not.
center, so it's not too bad. But the biggest news out of basketball, at least in the NBA, was the in-season tournament was announced over the weekend by. If you had to think who would announce an in-season tournament for the NBA, would you imagine it's Richard Jefferson who's announcing it? I mean,
I
for,
absolutely would not have.
former Nets, great player, not Hall of Famer, but like okay announcer or like okay analyst. But he's the one that announces it. It's if you've ever seen the FA Cup in England, it's kind of similar to that, to where regular season games are going to count both for the regular season and for this tournament. It's all the games in November essentially between these teams. There's quarterfinals in December, and then the semis and finals all happen in Vegas. Group play are like three new pools in each conference. Instead of going by division, it's like Philly is playing Cleveland and Atlanta and Detroit and Indiana. So all those aren't in the same division. The stats count for the regular season, but the final game doesn't. Like the championship game apparently doesn't count for the regular season stats, which I thought was interesting. Um, what do you make of the whole format? And I have the groups on the screen if you want to go through it. What group do you think's the toughest?
Oh shit! Did I log out of my? Oh, hold on. I logged out of my docs real quick. But yeah, it all in all, I think it's a cool idea. Now are the players gonna care? I don't know. I know this. It's what, like, the winning team gets 500K per player. Is that per
Yeah,
player? Like, everyone on the team, even if you don't play, you're getting 500K.
I think it is. Yeah, it doesn't matter if you play or not because you're on the roster.
Nice.
It's like for the finals, you get a ring, you know you never
Yeah,
played.
that's fair. So I think it's cool. It's nice that it's like what I thought it was going to be is they're going to take like a couple week break type tournament, run it in the middle of the season, and then go back to the regular season games. But incorporating regular season into it, I guess, makes it a little easier um,
Hmm.
to do. So you're not cutting out just stopping the regular season for this tournament.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's an in-season regular season tournament. I don't know how much the players are going to get up for it. Now, if there was some incentive, like the winner gets an automatic playoff berth, now you're talking, because that would be fun.
Yeah.
Imagine a team that's not going to make the playoffs, like a Houston team, um, the Pacers. Imagine they have the talent to win something like that, especially if the other teams are just like, we'll make the playoffs anyway. Imagine the
Hmm.
Pacers running the table and winning that, getting a guaranteed. I mean, you'll probably be the 8 seed, but like you still get a guaranteed playoff berth. I think that would be fun. I think somebody else said a top 4 spot. I think it's a little much, but
That's crazy.
that's crazy. Um,
Imagine in the East, it's like Bucks, Philly, Boston, Miami, and then one of them has to get bumped out because the because the freaking what's their name? Because the Hornets
Pacers. Yeah,
won
the
one
Hornets. Yeah, the
the
Hornets
Hornets
win.
won the basket.
Yeah,
I think I think it'd be good if they became the 7 seed. Like they're guaranteed a home or even the 8 seed, you know? Like they're at
yeah,
least guaranteed one home playoff game or at least a play-in game. I
yeah,
think that'd be the best scenario because then you have it where it's even like, oh shoot, Atlanta made like a playoff spot, and even if they don't make it normally, like they're good, like you know what I mean? Like it would just make the odds for the 9 seed be even more competitive now because they're
yeah.
guaranteed that
It would make
spot.
it fun. Yeah,
Yeah, I like the format. I like that like what you said. It's not a separate thing, so that way, like regular season games just matter even more so. The players won't know the difference, but the players are going to try to win anyways because they try to win every game, right? It's in the middle of the season, so nobody's tanking. At least they shouldn't at that point, right? It's only November, but
well, they're probably tanking.
it's in like the first 3 weeks of the season it
Tanking.
starts, right? Yeah. So I like the format. I mean, it'll be interesting to see in like how, like you said, how serious the players take it, but also if there's any difference in like on court presentation, what they do to like sell it off as like a more important game, you know? But I also like the matchups. Like, I mean, you've got the Heat playing the Bucks and the Knicks. Philly, Cleveland, Atlanta, and Indiana and Detroit.
Yes,
That
sir. You
pool is
better put us in there, sir. Yes, sir.
that pool is pretty competitive. You've got like Denver, New Orleans, the Clippers, and Mavs all in the same group with the Rockets is really good. You've got the Kings and Warriors with the Thunder, and like you've got Wemby and the T Wolves. Like these pools are actually decent. I think the worst one is the East C. I mean, it's Boston, the Nets, the Bulls, the Magic, and the Raptors. Like if Boston
Yeah.
doesn't go 5-1 or 6-0, like they've definitely fucked up.
The Magic running that one.
The Magic running that one. But I think it's going to be interesting. I'm actually excited for it. I didn't think it was happening this season. I thought it was happening next season. So the fact that it's this
Yeah.
year is good.
Yeah, I
But
wasn't
I
even
definitely
ready for
think,
the announcement. Just saw it on Twitter. I was like, what the fuck is Richard Jefferson doing on my For You page, and why is it a 2-minute video?
yeah. But I mean, he actually presented it pretty
Yeah,
well, like explained
it
it.
was.
But it was just weird to see him, you know? But I
And then
think
the
East A is definitely the hardest, the pool for sure.
Yeah, and I don't know if you talked about the actual format, but um, the winner of each one goes on, and then there's one wild card spot as well. So the best team in each out of the 3 divisions goes in too. So, was it 8 teams total? I mean,
Yeah.
it's cool. I'll watch it. We'll see if this is like a recurring thing or if it's a bust. Maybe they scrap it here. But at least they're trying something new to get engagement. I don't know. We'll see.
I think it's gonna stay because Adam Silver really likes like the FA Cup format, like Champions League format of Europe soccer, and I think this is trying to model that. And again, like in that kind of situation, those games don't matter toward like there's nation leagues. It's just completely separate. So I kind of like that.
Yeah,
Like it's it's also matters because it's the regular season, you know.
yeah. Who do you
But
have
we'll
winning
see.
it? If you had to guess right now, who's winning the 2023 NBA in-season tournament?
Oh God! I mean, this is like playing. This is like saying who's gonna win the finals, kind of, right?
Okay, early prediction.
I'm gonna say, oh God. Give me Milwaukee.
Oh,
I think the Heat are going to finish second and be the wild card, but I think Milwaukee is going to win this for
I'm
some
gonna
reason.
take. I'm gonna take a random team. Give me the Pacers. I'm gonna take them. I'm just gonna take the Pacers for some random reason. It might not be
You,
them, but it's gonna be a team that's like it'll be like a play-in team that's gonna win it. It's not going to be one of the
Actually,
elite like best teams.
I'm going to change my pick. Give me the Thunder. Give me the
That's
Thunder.
yeah, that's a good one too.
Because I think they can have a better record than the Kings and Warriors in that pool. Give me OKC. Yeah, give me OKC.
Yeah, the Thunder. I guess I should have looked at the pools before I said Indiana because they have
Yeah,
Cleveland
because
and Philly. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. That's a hard group to like. You
yeah.
have to win your group. That's the thing, or be the second best team in the conference outside of it.
Yeah, give me. I mean, if you look at it, like Wemby's going to be set up pretty well there. I
Hmm.
mean, the Warriors, T-Wolves, and Thunder. That's a solid one. You know what? I'm gonna take it. Give me the Rockets. The Houston Rockets are going to
Better
upset.
than Denver?
Yep, the Houston Rockets are going to upset Denver. They're going to make it as the wild card team. I think they won't win it. They'll make it as the wild
Oh
card team. They'll end
God.
up playing like the Kings or probably the Kings or something. Maybe the Thunder. Um, give me the Rockets. I'm big on the Rockets this next couple of years.
I think you're the only one.
Probably, but
God.
we'll see what happens. It's a cool idea. Obviously, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But we shall see.
Yeah, for sure. We did have more basketball news, but outside of the NBA, in the college ranks, we had Bob Huggins, the former, I guess, current West Virginia head basketball coach.
Current
He announced
former,
yesterday. He announced
former
yesterday
current.
that, yeah, the former current coach. He announced yesterday that his resignation letter was a false statement and he never signed it or submitted it, and that he claims he should still be the coach and still plans on coaching. He did check into a rehab center since I think the latest DUI he got. But West Virginia, I think, is personally just trying to get out of paying his last year of his contract
Oh, for
and
sure.
just saying it's a resignation instead of just firing him, which they would owe him the money.
Yeah,
What do you make of this entire scenario? And is Bob
this
Huggins actually going to come back to coach?
this got really ugly really fast. No, I don't think he'll come back to coach. I think if it all falls through, they'll just fire him.
Yeah.
They'll end up eating. They'll bite the bullet and pay his. I mean, he can't be making more than what 3 million a year. I don't know
I
what.
don't know.
I don't know. I don't know coaching contracts, but they'll eat it. They'll pay. They'll buy it out. You look at college sports. Look how many people are getting bought out in coaching world. Like it's chump change, unless it's
Hmm.
something exuberant. And I see you looking it up, so now I'm kind of curious on what his contract is.
I don't know.
Oh, were you
Yeah,
not
look it
looking
up.
it up?
No, no, I'm
Oh shit! I thought
not.
you were like typing something in. I was like, oh, he's totally looking at the contract. That's
No,
gonna be a good
I know.
number.
I was saving our predictions for the tournament that we just
Oh,
did.
okay, okay, yeah,
I mean,
but
I
I
can look it
mean,
up now.
it's pretty. It's an ugly situation where it's he said, she said. They'll go through this whole shebang, and then I'm assuming he's either gonna officially step down or they'll fire him because it, I don't. Why would you want to come back and coach after this anyway? Even if this was all true and he didn't sign the resignation letter, why would you want to? Like, I feel like these two just need to separate. There's been, he's made a lot of mistakes. Like you said, he checked himself into rehab, but at the same time, it's your second DUI. Um, and I don't. I understand why the university wants to, wipe their hands clean and start new. So they'll probably just fire him.
It was 4.15 million he was making, but then because of his anti-LGBTQ plus slur he did on the radio,
Yeah, I know he
they
took a pay
reduced it to
cut. Yeah,
3.15. So you're right. It's like 3 million
yeah.
essentially that they would have to pay him. But yeah, like you
That's
said,
that's nothing. Dude, look
ugly
what Auburn
scenario.
paid. Look what Auburn paid out to buy out Harson. That shit was ridiculous.
Yeah, but that's you're talking about football
That's
versus
football.
basketball.
Yeah,
That's
that's
why.
football. But I mean, if you
Yeah,
look at
yeah,
it, West Virginia is also. I mean, they're still a Power Five school with a lot of money, so
yeah.
they've got the
I
money to
mean,
buy him out.
I think West Virginia is just going to end up firing him. I think that's
Yeah,
just going to be the last scenario.
probably.
We did have one disgraced coach with an even more disgraced coach. I mean, the details coming out of Northwestern and college football have been really jarring. I mean,
Jail
Pat,
time for
Fitz-
this man.
Pat Fitzgerald's been there for 18 years. He got fired yesterday from Northwestern football after widespread hazing reports came out within the program. On Friday, they concluded their investigation since January and suspended him 2 weeks without pay. But then more and more reports and accounts came out saying how there's no way he couldn't have known about the hazing. And then they fired him immediately. And I'm just going to get to some of it because it's like really messed up. Like the reports of hazing included forced participation in nudity and sexualized acts of a degrading nature, with a former player describing it as older players called the Shrek Gang from the movie Shrek would wear masks and restrain freshmen who made mistakes in practice and engage in sexual behavior with them. And the players who made mistakes in practice were gestured by Fitzgerald in practice. He would do a little clapping motion, point, and that's how the older players knew to pick on that player, tie him up, and do horrible things to him. Just an overall fucked up situation happening in Northwestern.
Yeah, that's just disgusting. If he knew about this too, he should absolutely be facing some sort of legal punishment. I don't know if it'll go that far. If it's just going to be, hey, you're gone, don't ever talk to us again. But I mean, he was there for 18 years. That's a long time, and the fact that this has probably been going on for longer than just this year, I would
Mm-hmm.
assume it's something that's been going on a lot longer. Again, we're not going to insinuate, or we don't have all the details yet. But absolutely, does if this is true, he deserves to be fired. Um, I mean, shit, it's Northwestern. It's not even an appealing job anyway. He turned it, I guess, into a decent program. They won the Big Ten, but they won it once, or at least they won their division once. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know. They haven't been super successful, but I'm assuming the ramifications for this are going to be really bad. They're obviously not going to get kicked out of the Big Ten or anything like that. I mean, what were the ramifications for Penn State? Kind of just a slap on the wrist.
Mm-hmm.
But that's also a big state school, so obviously we know they're not going to get in as much trouble. They could very well bring the hammer down on Northwestern, though.
I think it's less about the school and just the coach, Like, I
Yeah,
mean, Jerry Sandusky is in jail.
yeah,
Obviously, Joe Paterno passed away before he could face any jail time. But, like, I mean, this doesn't seem as horrific as that information was, but it's along the same lines. So you got to
yeah.
think Pat Fitzgerald's going to jail.
Well, I mean,
Like, there's no way.
you got to look at what they do in state college. They still adore Joe Paterno. So I mean,
Hmm.
there's probably a few people out there in Northwestern that'll be on the anti firing him bus. There's always going to be the cult believers of a certain coach, but it's just a terrible thing for Northwestern. Everyone there deserves to be either kicked off the team, fired, or in jail. We'll see
Hmm.
if there's any more details that come out soon. But it's not their football program might just be screwed for next year. I don't know if it's something they just like wouldn't play next year if this goes through. If they have to forfeit all wins, I don't know.
No, I mean, I think they'll just punish the
They're
coach and not the
oh, but
program.
you got to think like who's going to take that team over? They're in the middle of an investigation. All of their players are going to transfer out at this point. They're not going. Their recruits are going to decommit. Like this is the death of Northwestern football.
Yeah, I mean, they hired their DC as their head coach, I think, already. So they already have an interim head coach.
Okay,
Yeah, they already have that set. So,
but
but yeah,
on
it's
the
going to be
field
bad.
product, this team will not win a game this year.
They didn't win a game, what, 2 years ago? They won their first game of the
Yeah,
season, then didn't win
yeah.
again, right? So
So
it's not
I
like they
guess
were
I
doing
guess
great.
saying they won't win a game isn't a crazy hot take.
Yeah, I mean, last year, let me see. Last year they won.
They beat Nebraska, right? That was the Ireland game.
Yep, they won 31 to 28 against Nebraska and didn't win a single game the rest of the
Yeah.
season. So there's it's not, they can go down a little bit, but not by much,
Yeah, they
right?
definitely can. Yeah, this might be the death of Northwestern football. I mean,
Yeah.
academically the school is great, but why is this team in the Big Ten? Like their baseball team is not good, their basketball team is not good, their football team is not good. Like, kick them out. We don't want them.
Put Marshall in the Big Ten. Put We Are Marshall in the Big Ten.
Yeah, honestly, at this point, like,
Put Bowling Green.
has Northwestern beaten Notre Dame? No.
I
So
don't know. Yeah,
put
it's true.
Marshall in there.
Yeah. Put Notre Dame in there. Could you imagine? I mean,
I'd go crazy, dude. If we got Notre Dame versus Michigan again every year, they need to bring it back.
that's what I'm saying. Like, I know the ACC has ties with Notre Dame for sure, but like that's kind of just because we were the only ones to really accept them. But
Yeah,
they should join the Big Ten. Like, they're right in the Big Ten country. They're in South
yeah,
Michigan, Northern Indiana.
they
So
would
they
bring a
should
ton of
definitely do
money.
it.
They have their own deal with NBC. They bring so much money to the conference, but I think they just like being independent because it's easier for them. They're scared of
Yeah,
the
because
they're honestly scared of the competition.
it's that, but they also have so many long-standing rivalries in football with like USC,
Yeah, and they
with
can play
Michigan and
anyone they
Michigan
want to.
State,
Yeah,
with Army and Navy. Yeah, like it's hard for them to keep that up if they go to a school. But at least for basketball, like they went basketball in the ACC.
yeah.
So
And look
I
at them;
don't
they're a middle of the road team. That's what would happen if they went to the Big Ten. They'd be a middle of the road team.
know. We'll see. I think that's it for the major news and headlines of the week. Again, it was a kind of
Do you
slower
want to
week in
talk about
sports.
the Gold Cup? I know that happened. There was a
You're
fight at
right.
halftime. That was cool.
Yeah, the CONCACAF Gold Cup. I mean, the USA, what was it? Actually, I forget exactly what happened to Con. They're still playing the Gold Cup, right? They haven't won it yet.
Yeah, it was the
I'm
quarterfinals
thinking of
against
the Nations
Canada.
League.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm thinking of the Nations League. But yeah, they did a kind of underwhelming performance. Again, this is not the All Stars in the
no,
American
this is
national
the
team.
C team at this point.
Yeah, this is Jesus Ferreira leading us with a hat trick and DeAndre Yedlin starting games. That's how you
Yeah,
know it's not the
except
main
for Matt
thing.
Turner. Matt Turner's the fucking goat, dude.
Matt Turner's great. I mean, 2-2 going into penalties, and who was it? He saved two? Yeah, he saved two
He saved the
penalties.
first two. They scored the next two, and then the last one hit the top bar.
Yeah. So, when crazy game, it looked like the USA was going to walk away into it in the 88th minute. I believe they scored a goal.
Yep.
And then they got a 93rd minute penalty. Canada did to extend the game to extra time. They scored in the 102nd minute. Canada did to take the lead, and then an own goal with 6 minutes left and additional extra time allows the USA to get the penalties. I mean, crazy game. Really underwhelming performance from Canada because they finished second in their group somehow in the Gold Cup and managed to play us, who won our group with the highest goal differential. But again, I'm not taking anything away from the Gold Cup because it's just nice to win, but we don't have our main players playing in it. So it's kind of like, yeah, if we win it, cool. If not, you can just say we didn't have our All Stars playing.
Yeah, I mean the fact that they can win another Gold Cup 2 years or two competitions in a row with a pretty much C team
Mm-hmm.
just goes to show how much this country has grown with soccer. Uh, it's not football, it's soccer. Don't judge us. We call it soccer here.
It's
Um,
football.
no, it's soccer. But yeah, congrats to them. Really happy they play Panama tomorrow for the in the semifinals, and then Mexico versus Costa Rica.
Yeah,
Is that
Costa Rica won
the
the other
other one?
game.
Which that's give us another.
Or
I
actually,
need no
I think
Costa Rica
Mexico
didn't.
played Costa Rica already
Yeah,
in the Gold Cup and they lost.
I think I have my phone. We got
Yeah,
Mexico
Mexico
versus
beat Costa
Jamaica,
Rica
the
already.
Reggae Boys.
That's what
That
it is.
actually would be a fun one. But give me another U.S. versus Mexico final. That shit goes hard. I don't care
You
what
th-
you say. It's the B teams. Those games are always where's it at? That's the big question. Where's the final at?
I think it's in Jerry's World, right? Wasn't it in the AT&T Stadium?
It's at SoFi, so it's in L.A.
Oh, okay.
Eh,
That's,
I don't
I
know.
mean,
It's not bad, but
yeah, we went.
it's not bad. But yeah, Mexico versus U.S. and L.A. That probably goes pretty crazy. Yeah, give me
Yeah.
give me that again. I need to beat Mexico again.
You think Christian Pulisic leaves AC Milan training to go
Hell
to play in
yeah,
the Gold Cup final?
he should at this point, dude. Like, come on back. They need to bring the A team. If they make the finals, bring the A team back. That's what I don't get because like competition's over. So like, where are they?
They're either transferring to new teams or they're in training with their new teams or they're on vacation. Like a lot of these players, right? Their season starts again in a month. So this, and they're about to start on their
Does it actually?
pre, yeah, they're about to start on their preseason tours in like North America and different countries to where
Oh
like for
shit.
a month they're in like China, Japan, America doing these games. And then I think the first game, I'm trying to see when the first match of the Premier League is.
Should we play random Premier League generator and that's the team I'll root for this year?
August 11th is the first game of the Premier League. So that's what I'm saying. It's a month away.
All right, hold on. I want you to go to a random number generator real quick.
Yep. But you can't go off last year's standings, so there's three teams that are new.
Oh shit.
But
Uh,
I can make it work. I got it.
yeah. This will be who I cheer for this year since
Okay.
Chelsea got the.
So I have it. It's in alphabetical order. I have it with
Yep.
the new teams.
All right, give me a
All
random
right.
number.
You ready? You
Yep.
ready to know your team?
Yep.
You've got number 15, which is, I want that to be my team. It's Newcastle United.
Yeah. All right. I'm a Newcastle fan this year.
Newcastle is good. The Magpies are good, man. They're a good team. All right. And then for myself,
Well, don't you? Aren't you already an Arsenal or a Liverpool fan?
no, neither.
Oh, I
I
thought
don't
you
support
were.
team.
Oh,
No,
okay.
I got 18, which is worse. It's Tottenham.
Damn.
Tottenham's got Harry Kane and Son, but
All right. I'm a
ugh,
Newcastle United fan. Is it United?
oh my God. Yeah,
Right.
is it, you can't you get to ask.
I'm a
Yeah,
Newcastle United
Newcastle
fan this
United.
year. We'll
There
do
you
this
go. Pick
every
up the
we'll do this every
Magpies.
year. We'll pick up a new team every year unless we fall in love with Newcastle or Tottenham. But
God, okay. Okay. But besides that, so at least we have that in the for
yeah.
during the season, Premier League. I think that's it, unless you got a question of the day or you're ready for who he
Oh,
play for.
I am ready for who he played for. It might not be accurate because I kind of put this together on the fly.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure it is. I picked a couple and then did research and they were the wrong teams. But drum roll, please. We need an intro song for who he played for. Um,
Yeah.
but contestant, are you ready for episode 2 of Who He Played For NBA edition?
I am not. I did not play any 2K this week. I was going to look at
Okay.
basketball reference, but then you were ready for the podcast, so I had no time to look it up. So sure.
By the way, before we start, have you played the new MLB Immaculate Grid?
I've not because I'm really bad at
Oh,
it.
bro,
So
you gotta play that. It is addicting. It
I've
was
not played it.
Baseball Reference just acquired it today, so they've already made upgrades to it. You should play it. It's great.
Oh wow, okay.
Maybe we'll do one on the pond next week. I'll save mine.
Hmm.
We'll we had nothing to talk about. We'll do that next week. We'll play an Immaculate Grid.
Yeah.
But player number 1, 23rd pick from a recent draft, Usman Garuba.
Usman Garuba, 23rd pick from a recent draft.
I
That
think
does
he
help
was.
me a little bit.
I think he was like last year, a couple
Oh
years
God, but
ago. I
that
don't
pick was
know.
probably traded for sure to a team that he's on now. I feel like he's in the East. I also don't remember hearing him at all. God, what a start. Usman Garuba. You know what? I'm gonna go with the San Antonio Spurs.
Incorrect.
Oh,
He was drafted by Houston and was traded last week to the Oklahoma City Thunder.
oh, that's still in the West though, at least. Oh,
You're
it's not
close. You
too
were
far.
close.
It's not too far
Oh,
away.
wait, or maybe he was drafted by Atlanta. It was either Atlanta or Houston, but he is
He's
now
on
with
the
the
Thunder now.
Thunder. He's on the Thunder.
Okay.
Question 2.
Oh
College
God.
Iowa legend, AP Player of the Year, Naismith Player of the Year, sorry. Luca Garza.
I'm gonna be so bad at this. You could have said no, my God. You could have said that name, which I also would have known. Luca Garza. I feel like I remember him playing in a game against the Heat, but I don't think he's on any team in the. He's not in the Heat division. He's not in the Heat division. I know that. He's not for the Hornets, Magic, or Hawks, or Wizards. No, he's not. I'm gonna say he's on the Pacers.
Not really well, geographically I guess close, but he plays for the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Oh, dang. Yeah, no way. No way.
All right, 0 for 2, 0 for 2. There's an easy one on here, I think, for you at least. But
Oh
number
God.
3, former, not even former, but I guess 3-point sharpshooter specialist Danilo Gallinari.
Oh, I should know this. He just got traded from Boston. He's not on Boston anymore. I don't think he got sent to Washington in the trade. He got sent to another team. Oh, it's either the Wizards or the Grizzlies. He's on the Wizards. He's on the Washington Wizards.
That is correct.
Yes. Yes.
He do play for the Washington Wizards.
Yes. He
You
hasn't
said
touched the
I
floor
don't.
with them yet.
Yeah, you said I don't think he got traded there, and then you guessed him. So,
Yeah,
all
yeah.
right, 1 for 3, 1 for 3. Question number
Hmm.
4: who he played for? Myers Leonard.
Oh, he got signed recently. He got signed in the offseason by the Milwaukee Bucks.
That is correct.
Yes, I knew that. That one I knew because the meme of people going
Yep.
Myers Leonard when he got signed. But
I
yes,
had to
because
lob you. I had to lob you a curveball down
him
there.
and Dragic got signed by the Bucks in the near the trade deadline. So yeah, I knew that one.
Oh
All right.
shit!
So if I get this one right, I beat you.
You do beat me if you get this one right. The final question:
Oh
Frank
God.
Ntilikina.
Oh God. It's not the Knicks. It's not the Knicks anymore. I know that.
It is not.
What team does Frank play for? I'm feeling a team in red. I think it's either the Bulls or the Hawks for some reason. I'm gonna go with the Hawks.
That is incorrect. Frank Ntilikina plays for the Dallas Mavericks.
Oh, no way I would have known that. Nah. Blue, blue, not even red.
Not even close.
God. I mean,
Two
I
for
know who he
five.
played for. Yeah.
2 for 5 is respectable. That's good.
Same as you guys, so I'm
That
okay with it.
honestly, yeah, fair enough. That was good.
God.
I do
Um,
also have a question of the day too.
yeah,
Um,
sure thing. Go for it.
but next week we can either do another who we play for. We'll do an immaculate grid. Maybe both. We'll see.
Yeah.
Question of the day is: I want you to rank the 4 major sports. Honestly, throw soccer in there too. Throw the 5 major sports overtimes. Rank them 1 to 5.
Ooh, I gotta write them down to know what the sports are. We're talking hockey. We're talking NFL, MLB, and NBA.
Yeah.
Okay, and then soccer. Well, if it was on here, I would go college football is last because that is the worst.
Oh, they suck. That's why I didn't even put them on here.
Yeah, they suck. I think NHL. It's not last. I'm just thinking.
And NHL technically has 2, so 'cause they have the shootout too.
Yeah, I know. And then, or they have the playoffs where was a golden goal
Yeah,
essentially.
yeah.
Am I? I think I'm gonna go with NFL last. I'm gonna go NFL
Damn,
last. I
really?
think so, yeah, because like the format's cool because at least each team gets a possession now. But I think just compared to the others, I think actually no, I'm gonna go NBA last, and I'm gonna go NFL. I think NBA is just essentially the same as the regular
Yep,
game, you know,
yep.
so it doesn't offer anything more. And I'm gonna go NFL third. I'm gonna go. Hold on. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go NHL. I'm gonna go NHL third. I'm gonna go NHL third. I think it's a good mix. It's a good mix of having it to where you at least guarantee yourself a point if you don't win the game. You know, you get an overtime loss. That's still a point in the standings. But I think sometimes like you get a random lucky shot that goes in and that kind of wins the game, especially in the playoffs, where it doesn't truly tell you who's the better team. I'm gonna go MLB second. I'm gonna go MLB second. I think the runner on second base has really helped them like make it so the games don't go 19 innings anymore, and it just speeds up the game quicker and it's equal for both teams. So I do like the baseball one, but I'm gonna go one soccer. I mean, it's essentially the best of both worlds. You get an extended time to actually win the game like regular playing, but you also get the penalty shootout, which I mean, I know NHL has that too, but I mean, look what happened in the World Cup final with the penalty shootout, right? All the stakes, all the pressure. It's literally if you miss, your team can lose. And that to me is like so glorious to have happen. So I'm going to go soccer first and I'm going to go basketball last.
Interesting, interesting. I agree. I think basketball is 5, just because it's the same amount of players on the team. It's just a shorter period of time. There's whoever's winning at the end of 5 minutes, that wins. It's just normal basketball. That's easy 5.
Mm-hmm.
Um, NFL, I feel like could be higher, but I'm gonna rank it 4, just
Mm-hmm.
because it usually is just like it would be better if both teams got a chance to score a touchdown, not first touchdown wins. The first touchdown
Mm-hmm.
wins is. Are they changing that? Or am I like
In the
tripping?
playoffs, I believe they
That's what it
are
was. It was
thinking about
okay,
it. Yeah.
yeah. But if they change that, it'd be great. But the first, all you gotta do is win a coin toss and you win. And we saw it in the Bills versus Chiefs a couple of years ago, or
Yeah, what Josh Allen was crying about because they're like, we didn't get the ball to score.
which I think is
So,
fair. I do think that is a fair complaint to have. If they had both
mhm.
teams get a guaranteed possession, it'd be higher. But that's what throws it off. 3, I'm gonna go soccer. I
Mhm.
think I'm on the opposite side of this. I think that they have like the 2 extra 15-minute periods. I think that's dumb. I think it should be if you score in it, you win. I think it should
Golden
be golden
goal.
goal. Yeah,
It used to be golden goal in the
I
past.
know.
It used
Yeah.
to be.
So maybe 30 minutes of golden goal and a shootout, I'm fine with. But the 2 15-minute overtime halves where you can each score sucks. Don't like it. MLB, I do think it's too. It definitely used to be way lower back when they didn't have the ghost runner and the new rules.
Hmm.
Now it's just fun to watch because you could have a big fat catcher on second base, and you got to learn how you got to figure out how to get him home.
There's so much
Um,
strategies. There's way more strategy involved now, which
yeah,
I
there's a
like.
lot more strategy, especially with the smaller bases. The pitch clock, the disengagements and all that. It's been way more fun to watch. But number one is easily the NHL, especially in the playoffs when it's golden goal,
Hmm.
Stanley Cup final. You score a goal, you're guaranteed to win. Not like soccer where you score a goal, you got to still play for another 25 minutes. Um, I think the NHL is pretty easily number one. Also has the best playoffs.
I mean, that's not bad because like your thing for NHL is what I think of soccer, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Our matchups are pretty much the same. So yeah, I think the overtimes are good. Just college football needs to figure it out. Whatever they did recently just made it so bad. Like what? Unlimited 2-point conversions after
Yeah.
third
Like,
overtime is just so silly.
and we hated the starting from the 20 or the 25 or whatever it was, but like give
Yeah,
that back at least. Like you
yeah,
just took that completely away and said, "Fuck it, you guys, just go for 10 hours of 2-point conversions." Um,
yeah.
what
Like
was it?
when Illinois beat Penn State, what,
Yeah,
13-11 or something
yeah.
like
But
that?
then what? A few years ago it was A&M versus LSU, and they both scored in like the 70s in overtime.
76
Like,
to 74,
yeah,
9 overtimes. Yeah,
give us that game back. I'd rather watch that than
yeah.
2-point conversions. Like that's just practice at that point. Who cares?
It doesn't tell you who's the better team. It
No,
just
it's
ends
just
the game quicker,
who's the better goal line team? Who has the best
Yeah.
running back at that point?
Or it's like two plays. Like imagine you're Penn State and like you throw one incompletion by like a yard and then you can't tackle somebody on one play. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
were you the actual worst team in the game? Maybe not.
yeah, no.
Um, my question of the day, and then we'll wrap it up after that, is obviously the All Star game is today. The facilities have started since Saturday with the celebrity softball game. You had Zach Levine go yard and a bomb. You had obviously the home run derby last night. If you could go to any All Star game and all the festivities, so I'm talking you get free access to the game itself, the red carpet show in basketball, it's the 3-point and the dunk contest. It's baseball, it's the home run derby and the softball game. In football, it's the dodgeball contest and the red carpet show, meet and greet, whole 9 yards. Which one are you going to?
Do I get to pick where I sit?
Yeah, you get your own seat. You
Oh
get
yeah,
that's what I'm
it's the
saying. Like
home. Oh, MLB. I'm going to the home run derby.
no,
Hell
it's
yeah.
the entire weekend. It's not just the home run derby. It's
Oh,
the
okay.
entire weekend. Like you get everything covered. You get to choose whatever seat you want for free.
Because I think the home run derby itself is the best event, but
I
the
know it is,
MLB
but this
All
is
Star
the entire
Weekend.
thing.
Okay, MLB All Star Weekend kind of lacking. Not gonna lie.
Hmm.
I'll take the MLB. I do it
You
just for the home
taking
run derby.
baseball?
Yeah, I was thinking hockey, but it's like the skills competition is cool, but it's not as cool as the home run derby.
Hmm.
It's like the home run derby is better than the skills competition, but the NHL All Star Game is better than the MLB All Star Game. But I'll take MLB just for the home run derby. I'm sitting in the outfield,
I'm
and
taking basketball by a landslide. Like you get to sit for the Rising Stars Challenge courtside next to the young players and the actual, some NBA athletes go and watch the game. You get to see the 3-point contest like at courtside and the slam dunk contest where you have like the judges, the current players gassing up on the sidelines. You get to see it live in front of you,
but the
and then
game
the All Star
sucks.
game.
The game
It's
sucks.
just it's it's like the home run derby yesterday. Being in the experience is so much better, I think, than watching it on TV. And just the fact you get to see and meet all your favorite players like for the sport there when it's not just them playing. I think that like you would geek out if you saw Kate Cunningham in the 3-point contest
Oh, I
in the
mean,
Rising Stars
yeah,
Challenge.
but like
Like I
I
would
think
take the basketball.
I think NBA is actually the last one I would pick.
And it's courtside seats. When are you gonna have courtside seats to a game?
Yeah,
You
but it's
know?
the All Star Game. Who cares? The NBA All Star Game is the worst out of the four. I think we
It
can
is,
both
but it's
agree.
the entire weekend.
I guess, but like that's bad. Have you seen how bad the dunk contests have been recently? They've been terrible. The 3-point contest is not what they had Draymond in it. What was it last year? They had Draymond in it.
The 3-point? I have no idea. I think it was. I think you're right.
Yeah,
I think
like
it was.
I don't want to watch that shit courtside. Um, I get it, I guess, but that is my last pick. I am picking everything else for the NBA.
Baseball will be my second. Baseball will be my second. I'm not watching the dodgeball contest or the Pro Bowl, but
Yeah, no.
nah, no way.
I mean, like if I could play in the dodgeball contest, maybe, but
Oh, if I'm playing the dodgeball contest, I'm beaming for Josh Allen every throw.
yeah, I'm
I'm
finding
ending
I'm
that man.
finding every rival. I don't care if he's on my team or not. I'm just doming him.
I'm replacing the ball and filling it with putting a rock inside, and I'm just throwing it at my least favorite player.
Oh, hey, Aaron Rodgers, you're on my team today. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, I just didn't catch that.
Oh,
Sorry. Oh, you got in front of my throw as I
shit.
threw a ball in the back of his head.
My bad, Aaron.
Yeah. But I think that's it for this episode 28. We have not that many news really to look forward to besides the All Star game because even baseball action is not going to be much this weekend.
Yeah,
But
might be an
we will
off week
catch you.
next week.
Yeah, we'll see. Honestly, we'll see if we
Might
need
be.
one, but we'll see about if we can get to who he played for, McAfee grid, at least some stuff to fill in the gaps. I think we're only 49 days till college football comes back too, so it's
Yeah,
not
we
too far
are.
away.
That is, we are going to start giving some predictions. Looking forward to the college football season, maybe around the end of July, beginning of
Hmm.
August, and then the NFL follows right back. So bear with us for another month or so for the boring baseball and news riddled episodes. We're trying to find cool stuff to do, but as always, follow us on Instagram 31305 podcast. We're on YouTube. Still not on TikTok. I ain't doing that shit yet. Spotify, whatever you listen. Actually, I was gonna say whatever you listen to podcasts on, but we're only on Spotify. We don't do that Apple Music bullshit. Uh,
Hmm.
I just gotta
Nah,
figure out how to do
big
that.
up the YouTube. Get that YouTube.
Yeah,
Get
get the
that views up.
YouTube
Get
up.
those views up and
Get the
likes up.
YouTube. Go sub to the YouTube. That's what we're gonna. That's what we're growing on. Go to the YouTube
Yeah.
channel. Three
Subscri-
one
you don't have to pay for a subscription. Subscribe for free.
exactly. It's 3-1 and then one spelled out. 05 podcast. That's really confusing, but you'll find it. But I think that's all we got. So, uh,
I think that's it.
as always, I'm Taylor.
I'm Alex.
We'll see you next week.